Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a seriously wild concept: how the unified dynamics framework natively resolves two of the absolute biggest mysteries in physics, and it does it using nothing but pure mathematics. Okay, so let's kick things off with a question that's kept scientists and philosophers up at night for centuries. Why does time only flow forward? Why exactly is our universe totally trapped in this one-way, irreversible progression of decay?
Right, and equally baffling, how do you get something out of absolute nothingness without just inventing some arbitrary cosmic creator to put it all there? It feels like a complete paradox.
Well, here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the big cosmic mysteries, move into a discrete, pixelated reality, explore the arrow of time, tackle the null state singularity, look at the F6 Falsifier Simulation, and finally, see how a universe emerges from mathematics. Let's jump right in.
Section 1. The Big Cosmic Mysteries.
Continuous physics relies on these smooth, analog fabrics, but it notoriously breaks down into infinite math errors. It literally requires physicists to manually tune the parameters just to make the equations work. But unified dynamics, it offers a digital alternative. It's a purely combinatorial, parameter-free state machine. Think of reality less like a smooth, continuous wave and more like a pre-programmed, digital, geometric network.
Section 2. A Discrete, Pixelated Reality.
So, to understand this digital universe, you have to grasp the golden rule, which is the parameter exclusion rule. This means the framework strictly requires zero empirical inputs, no arbitrary math operators, no phenomenological constants to force things to match observation. You can't just plug in the mass of an electron because it makes the math look nice. Things like mass and gravity actually have to emerge deterministically as the geometric capacity required by the network itself. The framework makes this incredible bold claim: structural ratios emerge deterministically from intrinsic geometry. To put that in plain English, our universe isn't some smooth, continuous fabric. It's actually a combinatorial machine working off localized geometric glitches or processing debt. Every piece of matter is literally just a locked deviation in this network.
Section 3. The Arrow of Time.
Now, this is where it gets really fascinating. If you zoom all the way into the microscopic level, the network's updates are perfectly reversible bijections. Structural information is exactly conserved. It's perfectly reversible. But you zoom out to the macroscopic level, it's a totally different story. It's dominated by irreversible coarse graining driven by an expanding boundary. So, how do we get from perfectly reversible on the micro level to completely irreversible on the macro level? It all boils down to coarse graining, which is beautifully captured here by the concept of multiplicity, or W. A macroscopic observer simply cannot see the exact internal routing of every tiny node. So W represents the incredibly vast number of distinct internal microscopic configurations that all look exactly the same from the outside. And as the universe's boundary expands with every causal tick, that internal combinatorial capacity for distinct routing, this multiplicity, just explodes factorially. And here is where the whole mystery unravels. The thermodynamic arrow of time is not some mystical physical force. As causal unrolling expands the macroscopic boundary, the combinatorial capacity for internal routing absolutely explodes. And since entropy, or S, mathematically equals the natural log of multiplicity, W, entropy has to strictly increase. Time's arrow is literally just the statistical diffusion of conserved information into a massively expanding phase space. The chance of the system randomly routing back to a previous, simpler state drops to absolute zero.
Section 4. The Null State Singularity.
This naturally takes us backward to the very beginning. Before the first causal update, before time or space even existed, the system rests in a perfect null state. Both active nodes and boundary capacity are zero. But under unified dynamics, the mathematical rules require a capacity ratio. So when you have zero boundary and zero defects, you get an undefined 0/0 capacity singularity. Absolute nothingness isn't just empty. In this mathematical grammar, it's an illegal, structurally undefined state. So instead of a magical explosion or a creator pushing a button, the mathematical framework was structurally forced to essentially fix the glitch of this 0 over 0 singularity. To resolve the undefined math, the system had to instantiate a minimal triadic resolution, a base-level 7n burden, and that instantly forced the first causal tick, generating an observable 7 over 92 bounding geometry to contain it. Existence is literally a mathematical necessity.
Section 5. The F6 Falsifier Simulation. But can we actually prove this? Well, researchers developed the F6 Falsifier to stress test it. It's a bare metal, pure combinatorial simulation running 800,000 discrete samples. They completely ban standard continuous floating point math. So no physics engines, no pre-programmed thermodynamics. Just pure integer-based graph topology. They wanted to see if a stable universe would natively emerge strictly from these rules.
And the boundary constraints they found are incredibly strict. Prior to scale n equals 6, the universe utterly fails to close. It remains a computational vacuum totally incapable of sustaining stable matter. But exactly at n equals 7, something remarkable happens. A massive statistical jump to topological closure.
94.07% to be exact. At the n equals 7 boundary, the simulation proved a 94.07% topological closure rate. It structurally resolved the pre-generational vacuum state, perfectly mimicking a Big Bang Genesis event, without a single line of curve-fitting code. The universe natively locked itself into existence exactly where the combinatorial math predicted it had to.
Section 6. A universe from mathematics. Tracing this ultimate causal spine, we can see the whole picture. From a mathematically undefined paradox of absolute nothingness, that 0 over 0 null state, a discrete causal update is absolutely forced. That first symmetry-breaking perturbation generates the 7 over 192 geometry. And as those invariant updates unroll, strictly conserved information statistically diffuses, generating the strictly irreversible thermodynamic arrow of time we experience every single day. I want to leave you with this final mind-bending thought to take away from this explainer today. If everything, from primordial Genesis to the one-way flow of time, is just the necessary mathematical resolution of a combinatorial state machine, is the universe actually a physical place or just a mathematical inevitability playing itself out? Think about that. Thanks so much for joining me today.